Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, it is now 3 straight losses for the Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning.
Happy Wawa Day to you guys.
That's really the only happy thing that's going on in Philly. Obviously, you were there because it was a Monday night countdown. So what did you make of the 3rd straight loss for the Eagles and the 4 interceptions thrown by Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there. I was in my house, but the viewpoint was the same. And it was a messy game. It was a turnover fest. I actually thought the offense showed certain signs of life. It seemed like they got Saquon going. It would have been nice to kind of stick with that a little bit more. But the turnovers, nobody can overcome that. Nobody's going to overcome that. When you turn over the football that many times in the course of one game, that's the recipe for a loss.
Okay, can we then look at it, though, and say, how do you run Saquon 5 times in the second half? I mean, seriously, it's like
there you go.
They just it's as if they don't have a clue. And I hate to be disrespectful like that at this point, but that's what they've literally got out of this fan base is there's no feel for what's going on. 51 snaps from shotgun, 15 under center, and the snaps under center highly more successful. The yards per attempt passing, the yards rushing, so much more successful. And it's as if they ignored their own analytics and their own success rate.
Well, I'll just say this, that when you put on the game at the start of the night, Saquon seemed to be having his way. He was breaking free. He was turning the corner. He was ringing up the type of runs that we haven't seen with any degree of consistency at all this year. We haven't seen really at all this year. And as you mentioned, they got away with it. 5 runs in the second half. 5. I don't know why that is, but that's why it was. And that's a good part of why they lost the game.
So
because it was right there for them. It was right there for them. They just had to keep following that. They didn't do that.
Shefty, you mentioned that you liked some of the things that you saw from the offense, including Saquon getting going in the first half. Dan Orlovsky yesterday in the Pat McAfee show kind of said the same thing. Minus the 4 interceptions, the offense looked pretty good. So this was the week where ESPN's own Tim McManus reported that Nick Sirianni was going to get more involved with the play calling. What have you heard, or not the play calling, the game planning? What have you heard on that front? Do you expect more of the same? Do you expect Sirianni to be even more heavy-handed? And what led to this, in your opinion?
Well, I would think that it'll continue going on. He's the head coach. The team's lost 3 in a row. Again, I thought the offense showed signs of life. What led to it is the fact that the offense had been flat. It had been unpredictable. It had been predictable. It had been not very innovative. And so I think Nick Sirianni got involved because it's his team ultimately, and he has to answer for everything. And if the offense is not getting the job done, then it's his job to step in to make sure that it does. And that's, to a certain extent, what that was about. He was apparently, according to Tim, more involved in the meetings, more vocal, spoke longer at the meetings. I don't know the exact role he had in the offense other than suppose he had a bigger role. And yes, I would expect to continue, and yes, I would hope that they would get back to running the football.
So what have you heard with how Patullo has been running these offensive meetings? Because that's what we heard, that it has been the Patullo show. I don't think Nick Sirianni was in his office playing tiddlywinks during the offensive meetings. I would imagine he was involved. But was this the Patullo offense up until last week before Sirianni got more involved?
I really don't know how it breaks down, other than Kevin was the offensive coordinator. It's his show, and the show wasn't getting it done. I mean, that's all we could really say. I don't have the specifics of how it broke down. I just don't know that. But it was enough that Nick felt he had to get involved and did. And like we said, the offense showed certain signs of improvement, but not nearly enough on Monday night. And there's clearly more work to do, and we'll leave that to them to figure out how they want to address that and do that.
When how much of in danger do you believe people that you are speaking to around the NFL believe the Eagles are to giving up this division lead to the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I thought the Cowboys' loss last Thursday night was a big deal. And I still think, like, if the Eagles can hold on to the lead, what is it? It's a game and a half right now?
It's a game and a half, but if the Cowboys could win out. But the Eagles have that game at Buffalo that could be a problem, so they just have to win the other 3. The magic number's 3. If they win the 2 Commanders games and the Raider game, the Eagles win the division.
I mean, if you can't beat the Commanders and the Raiders 3 times, you don't deserve to win the division.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
So I mean, and I'll say this, like, not to put the pressure on them, but if you can't beat the Commanders twice and the Raiders and you don't win the division, to go back to the question, there are going to be questions that come up that have to be answered. They just are.
All right.
And so, that's not an ultimatum, but I'm just telling you, like, all season long, the city's been in an uproar about the way this team has performed. So that, for all the chatter that there's been, if they were unable to beat the Commanders and or the Raiders, oh my God, I can't only imagine what the conversations would be like.
So let's talk about these questions. All right. After the 2023 season, I was ready to move on from Nick Sirianni, and John Kincade to my left was not. Now it's almost like roles reverse. If there's another collapse, John would consider it.
If they miss the playoffs, yes.
Or even if they back their way in continuously like they are now and get eliminated in the first round, much like the 2023 season, is that even a thought that would cross Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman's mind about guys like Nick Sirianni or, hell, maybe even Jalen Hurts at this point? Because we know that the Eagles aren't just happy making the playoffs.
But I can't answer the specifics because we don't know how it's going to play out. But I feel comfortable in saying that if they were to fail to make the playoffs, if there were losses in there to the Commanders and Raiders that cost them the division title and a playoff spot, I don't know what the fallout would be other than I would be comfortable in saying there would be fallout. What that's going to be, there are weeks to discuss and dissect and figure out, but there would be fallout if they fell short of making the playoffs because of losses to the teams we're talking about.
I know you hear things, so I'm going to ask you, and anything you can feel free to share. Have the whispers, has the chatter, has the gossip around the Philadelphia Eagles out of that locker room that people are hearing, has it calmed down?
What chatter and in what way is it calmed? What does that mean? I'm kind of confused.
We were hearing all the stuff about the problems. There was problems with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and the subtexting, and then there was Big Dom supposedly having to step in, and then so I'm wondering.
I just think it's football business. It's stuff that happens with every team. It's stuff that happens with every team when they lose 3 games in a row. I don't know of anything that's more extreme or something that I'm hearing that you're not about the team. Some sort of whispers and speculation. And look, they've lost 3 games in a row. You're looking for some magic answer as to what's gone wrong or what they're going to do. You got to just go out and win the game. Who did they play this week?
They play the Raiders.
Vegas?
They play the Raiders, and yes, they're the Raiders.
Okay. I'm just telling you they should win that game. I don't know what the line is. If they don't win that game by double digits, and it's in Philly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 11.5, by the way.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Well, I said they should win the game by double digits. I didn't even know what the number is. That's right. They should win that game 24-13, 28-10, 31-10, whatever it is. There should be a statement win, like, we're back, we're fighting. We're going to be heard from here.
That would be nice.
And if there's not, then the alarms that you guys have been sounding for weeks ahead of everybody, they would start ringing really loud.
Shefty, do we see Lane Johnson anytime soon with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Oh, they need him back. They're hoping to have him back. I guess we'll see today if he practices at all.
You saw his tweet, correct? Did you see his tweet with the eyeballs?
What was the tweet?
He put out the double eyeballs tweet on Monday night before the game. So it's sort of saying like there might be news coming. So we're hoping that means he is going to come back, hopefully, because they're terrible without him. They're bad without him.
Yeah, they are. I think it's a little soon, but I also know that guy's a warrior, and he does things that most people can and wouldn't. So I certainly would not rule him out, but I wouldn't count on him either.
All right.
This week.
Last thing, I just got to ask your thoughts on it. Could this Phillip Rivers story be the greatest story ever in the NFL or the biggest disaster? Adam Schefter, the floor is yours.
Listen, it's great whenever Phillip Rivers comes back. You know, there aren't many grandfathers who have played in the National Football League. You know, Brett Favre was a grandfather. Phillip Rivers is a grandfather. Phillip Rivers has children that are older than some of the players he'll play with. His oldest child, I believe, is older than Tyler Warren, and I'm sure that's not the only one. Like, there are all sorts of facts and stats that we could get into that make this fascinating. If he's signed to the active roster, obviously his Hall of Fame, and he's a Hall of Fame semifinalist this year. That goes away if he signs to the active roster, and the clock restarts, and they have to wait to become a member of the class of 2031.
Oh, my gosh.
So at which point he'd be 49 years old anyway. It's not like he'd be really old.
Right.
And Phillip Rivers is a fun guy. Phillip Rivers played in an AFC championship game against the Patriots with a torn ACL.
Yep.
He does things that a lot of people don't. I just think it speaks to how much he loves football. It speaks to how desperate the Colts are. It speaks to the respect that Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen have for each other. And it speaks for something that everybody is waiting and watching to see with great curiosity.
Shefty, we
job,
appreciate the
Adam.
time as always, man. We'll talk to you again next week. And to your point, the Eagles offense better show up on Sunday, or, man, next week will be fun.
Positivity bunny.
Positivity bunny.
Yeah, we can make this very simple. Saquon and Tank Bigsby, there should be 30 carries on Sunday.
There we go.
They should run for 211 yards.
Yeah, Saquon will get 29 of them, and Tank will get 1.
Well, however, Tank should get 7-8 carries.
No, we agree. We agree with you.
We've been begging for that.
The Eagles coaching staff does not, apparently.
Adam, I know it would be a pay cut, but they're going to be looking for an offense coordinator this offseason, so just think about it.
Shefty, we
Don't cut off
appreciate
your
the
list.
time, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, buddy. See ya.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks,
Adam Schefter.
Thank you so much for checking out our content here on our YouTube channel. You know you can like and subscribe, and that way you're never going to miss anything that we've got going on right here at 97.5 The Fanatic.